Diabetes Connections is brought to you by OneDrop, created for people with diabetes by people who have diabetes. By Gvoke HypoPen, the first premixed auto-injector for very low blood sugar. And by Dexcom. Take control of your diabetes and live life to the fullest with Dexcom.
This is Diabetes Connections with Stacey Simms.
This week, 14 years ago this month, my son was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes. Then he joins me to answer a bunch of questions, including how he psychs himself up for every inset and CGM change. He says, you gotta be fast.
Like with baseball, if you step up to bat and you get inside your head, you know, like you're gonna not hit the ball, you're gonna swing bad. And if you like leave the inset on your body, like you're holding it there, like more and more you get in your head and like, this is terrifying. Why am I doing this?
Even now, after all these years.
Oh, yeah. Like if I don't do it in the first 10 seconds I have it on my body, I have to take a minute.
He also shares what he remembers about moving to more independence. He was diagnosed before he was 2, so it's been quite a change for us over the years. We also share what makes him nervous, what makes him happy, and a lot more. In Innovations this week, a new program called Hello Dexcom may have more people trying out this CGM. This podcast is not intended as medical advice. If you have those kinds of questions, please contact your healthcare provider. Welcome to another week of the show. I am always so glad to have you along. We aim to educate and inspire about diabetes by sharing stories of connection. As I have said, my son was diagnosed before he turned 2. My husband lives with type 2 diabetes. I do not have diabetes. I have a background in broadcasting and local radio and television news, and that is how you get the podcast. I apologize right off the bat. My voice is a little rough this week. I have had some kind of lousy cold since Thanksgiving. I got checked for everything, COVID, strep, blah, blah, blah. It's just a regular old virus. I don't feel that bad, but I probably don't sound that great, so I apologize for that. It really is hard to believe that 14 years have gone by. I remember that day, like many of you do, the diagnosis day, like it was yesterday. I've told a lot of stories about that day. I was working in radio. Our lives were so different. My kids were so tiny. Some of you saw the photo I posted in the Facebook group of Benny, and many of you met him when he was tiny. And it's got to be jarring, because I don't share photos of my kids all the time on social media, to now see him looking so different. He's 5'11". I mean, he's working out all the time, and we talk about that in the interview. It's just amazing, right? I mean, you parents know, you hear your kids in the kitchen and you look up expecting to see, your 7-year-old daughter, and there's this 19-year-old woman. What are you doing in my house? All the cliches about how quickly it all goes. But I'm always happy when Benny comes back on the show and answers questions that you submit, questions that I have. It's amazing for me as his mom, and it's become quite a time capsule, I think, as we'll look back in years to come. And I hope it's helpful or maybe entertaining for you all. So we will get to that in just a moment. But first, Diabetes Connections is brought to you by OneDrop. And I spoke to the people at OneDrop, and I was really impressed at how much they get diabetes. It makes sense. Their CEO, Jeff, was diagnosed with type 1 as an adult. OneDrop is for people with diabetes, by people with diabetes. The people at OneDrop work relentlessly to remove all barriers between you and the care you need. Get 24/7 coaching support in your app and unlimited supplies delivered. No prescriptions or insurance required. Their beautiful, sleek meter fits in perfectly with the rest of your life. They'll also send you test strips with a strip plan that actually makes sense for how much you actually check. OneDrop, diabetes care delivered. Learn more, go to diabetes-connections.com and click on the OneDrop logo. If you've listened to this show at all, you know my son Benny was diagnosed just before he turned 2 back in 2006. So that makes 14 years of type 1 in my house. We've done shows with him before. In fact, when we marked 1 decade with type 1, I interviewed my whole family. I will link that episode up if you'd like to go back and listen. I talked to my husband and my daughter and got the sibling perspective, which was really eye-opening for me. And I talked to Benny, which 4 years ago, he sounded quite different. I have been told that Benny and I are kind of quick. We may talk in a bit of a shorthand when we're together. So listening to this interview, you should know just a couple of things. Jeffrey, who we mentioned, is a diabetes camp counselor who is terrific. He's a great friend. We both love him, no matter what we say here. Sorry, Jeffrey. Benny mentions some issues with his tandem pump. They are being wonderful about this, and by the time you listen, it's probably all resolved. But I will tell you a bit more about that after the interview. Benny and I get a little silly. I don't know if everybody appreciates that, but enough of you have told me that it's okay to leave in, so I did. I did take out some really over-the-top ridiculousness, but I put that in at the very end of the show, so you can listen if you want to. All right, we start off with Benny rummaging around my office. So I sent you into my closet to find a mic pop filter. And what did you come out with? What is that?
It's a USB hub.
And what does that do?
Basically turns one USB slot into 3.
Ooh.
Or 4.
I remember buying that because I thought I would use it at conferences, but it didn't really work out that way.
Well, I mean, your computer has, I guess enough. Like, it's not one of the Macs that have one USB. This would be very useful for that. I do not have one of those, but I will certainly find a use for it.
All right. So how are you?
I'm great. How are you? I'm great.
Oh, my goodness. So as we are sitting here, this is 14 years of type 1 diabetes.
Today?
This is your actual diaversary is today. Today is the Saturday.
I'm such an old man.
That we went down to the hospital in Charlotte. And then later that night, when I was freaking out, you put your arm around me and you said,
"It's going to be okay, Mommy."
You said, "It's going to be okay, Mommy." Yeah, that was tonight.
I'm an old man. I'm so old.
That's wild. And you don't remember any of that?
No.
What's interesting, too, is we started your Dexcom on Christmas Day, 2013. Mm-hmm. So you had just turned 9, or you were about to turn 9, and that's when we started your Dexcom. You must remember that.
We were at Grandma's house in the big screen room.
Right, like that movie theater room she has.
And you were both with me, and I was like freaking out. And Dad was just like, "All right, we're doing it. Ka-chung." And I was like, that was terrifying. Let's never do that again.
That was the old, I was going to say G5, but it was the G4. It was the G4 it was the G4 pediatric, which had the same inserter as the G5. What I wanted to ask you about was stuff. You are impossible. We have to do this on video one day so people can see you. You have been doing that, trying to eat the microphone since you were because
it's satisfying.
2 years old, 3 years old. It's gross.
It's fine.
That's why you couldn't find any pop filters, because every time I talk to you, I have to get a new one. So I figured you don't have a lot of reflections with diabetes. We've asked you some of these questions before, and
I'm not the best at answering them.
You're not quite
I'm not the most reflective person.
A meditative sage, if that's the right way of putting it. But you do have a lot of good things and wisdom to share. So I thought we'd take a different tact this time.
Okay.
All right. So here are some dumb questions.
We love dumb questions.
And you have done...
dumb questions.
We'll see. You have done your own pump insets and Dexcom insertions. I'm going to say for 2 to 3, 4 years now. I've kind of lost track, but it's been a long time. I can't remember the last time I did one with you. Which is worse, pump inset or Dexcom?
Oh, pump, for sure.
Why? Tell me about it.
Because the Dexcom... just a little before the G5 and G4 pediatric were terrifying.
Yeah.
They were like giant syringes, and you could feel the needle go in, and you could feel it move the entire time.
Do you remember? I'll definitely let you finish the actual question, but do you remember the first time Jeffrey tried to get you to insert it yourself?
Where were we? Friends for Life?
We were at, I think, a JDRF conference. It might have been a Friends for Life conference, but I think it was local because Jeffrey was there from our local camp.
It was definitely local. Yeah, we were in the hallway outside the conference room, and he was like, "You either do it yourself or it's not happening." And that's actually how he made me do my first inset, too, but that was at camp. Thank you, Jeffrey. You have traumatized me. He said the way he did it was just push up against the wall, and then, with the white part to go in, and then the clear part he'd pull out by himself, and I'm like, that's not how I would do that. And I was utterly terrified.
I just remember walking up, and I
had it on my arm.
Right.
And it the whole thing was stuck on my arm, and I was just running around because I'm like, I'm not doing this.
Yeah. If you're not familiar with how the G5 used to work, or the old Dexcoms, you'd have to. It just looked almost like a gun.
Giant syringe.
A syringe, right? So you'd push down on one part and then pull up on one part. I'll put a video link in the show notes so you can check that out. But it's very hard to do by yourself. So people got very innovative and used door jams and walls.
I actually did it by myself. I mean, I got to the point where you just got to stretch your fingers.
But also you couldn't really do it in your arm by yourself.
I could. I got to the point where,
Oh.
Excuse me. It was just really fast because, most people did it kind of slowly and then pulled up pretty fast. But I did it all in one swoop motion so that I could actually do it with one hand on my arm.
Oh.
Because I'm just that fancy.
I don't remember. I think when Jeffrey did it that day, though, we wound up just removing it.
Yeah, we just took it off.
Because it was you were running around the conference with it sticking out of your arm.
I mean, like,
I'm sorry to laugh.
I was like...
You were scared.
I was terrified.
There's so much that you guys have to go through that is so scary and not fun.
Yeah,
So,
Jeffrey bullies me.
all right.
I love you, Jeffrey.
You said the inset hurts more now, though.
Yeah.
So tell me about your procedure.
So,
How do you do it?
Well, the Dexcom, let me get back to that, is now it's just a button, and it's not scary at all. Like, you don't see the needle. You don't see anything but the bandage sticky part and the big orange button. It looks kid-friendly. Like, it doesn't look like it's going to stab you. It's just a button. But the inset, like, you can see everything. Mm-hmm. You have to, like, you're basically looking at the needle the entire time while you're unwrapping it. And let me just say that the insets are way harder to unwrap than the Dexcoms. Someone should get on that.
I'm with you.
And, like, the spring mechanism, like, you have to, like, pinch down on both sides. That's, like, it just adds to the aspect of, like, you are stabbing yourself.
Well, it's interesting because, you have done more shots than most people who use a pump will have done.
Well, I don't remember any of them.
You just did them. You stopped in March.
Oh, what?
With the Traceba.
Oh, the Traceba. Oh.
Let me rephrase.
When I think of shots, I think of like the one with the orange tip.
The syringe shots? Like the old... Oh, yeah, that's true. Because you were 2.5 when we stopped that. Okay, but what I mean is... here's my question. As a person with diabetes who has sharp objects in you quite often, it must be so strange to have to insert them. And as you're saying, you're watching the needle the whole time you're unwrapping the inset, and then you put it on your body. Isn't your body kind of telling you, like, not a good idea? Yeah,
no, I mean, absolutely. Like, it's kind of like sports. Like, if you don't do it at that moment, like with baseball, if you step up to bat and you get inside your head, like, you're going to not hit the ball, you're going to swing bad. And if you, like, leave the inset on your body, like, you're holding it there, like more and more you get in your head and like, this is terrifying. Why am I doing this?
Even now, after all these years.
Oh, yeah. Like, if I don't do it in the first, like, 10 seconds I have it on my body, I have to, like, take a minute.
That just makes sense to me because your body is never going to say yes to a needle. It's always going to want to say...
I mean, your body's not dumb.
Right.
It's like, this is not a good idea, crazy person.
Does the coughing still help?
Oh, yeah. I do it every time. I don't know if I would need to anymore, but I still do it every time.
And we should explain, when you cough, apparently you kind of confuse your body for minor pain.
I think it's just distracting. Like, I think your body, like, whatever it is, like the nerves, receptor pain, whatever, just focus on your lungs for like a quarter of a second. And that's when the needle's going in your body.
So can you now cough and stay still? Like, that's the one thing that makes me nervous when I hear you coughing is I picture you moving and then the needle getting sideways.
Well, I never moved that much. It's like a little flinch. Like, if you cough right now, it's not like you're not going to move 6 feet. We need a camera.
We need a camera. Benny just like jumped off his chair. Maybe another time. Right back to our chat in just a moment. But first, Diabetes Connections is brought to you by Gvoke HypoPen. And almost everyone who takes insulin has experienced a low blood sugar. And that can be scary. A very low blood sugar is really scary. And that's where Gvoke HypoPen comes in. Gvoke is the first auto-injector to treat very low blood sugar. Gvoke HypoPen is premixed and ready to go with no visible needle. That means it's easy to use. How easy is it? You pull off the red cap and push the yellow end onto bare skin and hold it for 5 seconds. That's it. Find out more. Go to diabetes-connections.com and click on the Gvoke logo. Gvoke shouldn't be used in patients with pheochromocytoma or insulinoma. Visit gvokeglucagon.com/risk. People ask me a lot, how did I get you to do your own insets and Dexcom stuff? And I don't really think we had a method.
Yeah, I think eventually it was like, I think it was a mix of you saying, like, I think we should start doing this, and me being like, I should start doing this. It wasn't like one of us was like, this needs to change. It was both of us kind of like, we can if we want to.
I do remember in 5th grade, your inset coming out once and me saying, you're fine, do it yourself.
I don't remember that.
Well, I'm glad because I felt kind of mean at the time.
Don't feel bad, Mommy.
But you did it and you were really excited about it. And I think it's also, as you got more independent, you didn't need me or want me.
No.
hovering over you.
Sad. You make it sound so sad.
No, but you know what I mean? Like when you used to go to Birkdale with your friends, when we would go places and do things, like in 7th grade, you'd go to Birkdale's our local shopping center, and you wouldn't, if your inset came out or you had an issue, like you didn't want your mommy coming to your rescue.
Save me.
Well, I would have been happy to.
Yeah, I know.
But I think that helps too. So it's a tough answer though, because there really isn't an answer as how you did it.
Yeah, it's kind of just it kind of just happened.
I think the G6 made that easy too, because you had been doing the G5, as you said, by yourself. But when
I forgot we were on the G6.
What do you mean you forgot?
Like I forgot. I thought I don't know.
Am I keeping you awake?
I'm tired.
You are beat tonight.
Well, I had workouts.
Yeah, well, we're going to talk about that too. But when we switched to the G6, and there's that crazy video of you getting all geared up to do it, in May of 2018, we got the G6, and you and I did a live Facebook where you inserted for the first time.
Was that on the couch? I think I remember that.
No, it was the kitchen table in the old house.
Oh, I do remember that.
And that after that, you did that one yourself, and then it was easy, so I never did it again. I mean, I never did the G6 period ever.
Fancy.
Yeah, well, it's weird after having done everything for you for so long.
You're just jealous. You said you can't do it anymore. You said you can't stab your son anymore.
Oh my God. Don't put it there. Hey,
Stabby stab.
Tell me about working out. So your wrestling practice is sort of back.
Pain.
And you've been outside today.
So much fun. Working out in masks outside in 50-degree weather is the best thing I've ever experienced.
What happens when you work out with diabetes? Because you work out a couple of times a week outside of wrestling too. I know to me you kind of act very casual about it, but what do you take into account? Like how do you do that?
I'm very casual about it.
Yeah.
I pretty much just go into workouts like if I'm above 120 and I bring food, and if I go below 120 I eat food and then wait till I'm above 120 and then go back in. That's pretty much it.
Well, that's not super casual. I mean, at least you pay attention and, you do what you need to do.
That's pretty casual. I think you're replacing the word casual with lazy. Lazy would be like, I'm 90. Let's do this.
Well, I don't know. I mean, you want to have an actual workout for the time that you're there, so you take care of what you need to take care of.
Yeah, because if you didn't, then you die.
Well, no.
Or it's a waste of time and energy.
Yeah. So here's another question for you. I'm curious, though, after your workout, occasionally that pump doesn't get put back on.
Well, because I go to the shower, and shower lasts like...
Shower for like 3 hours?
2-3 hours. Look, hot water and music, very nice. Okay?
Oh, my goodness.
Shout out to Tandem. Control IQ does very well sometimes. We're having some problems.
Yeah, well, we're just having some problems with we think the transmitter and the pump are not getting along right now. The last 4 weeks have been ridiculous. We've gotten really used to Control IQ.
It's great.
It's
really nice when it works.
Yeah. What is the diabetes chore that is the biggest pain for you?
Huh.
Like filling a cartridge?
Definitely filling a cartridge.
That's just because I said that first.
No. It's definitely filling a cartridge. Pain in the...
Can I say a bad word?
No.
Pain in the butt.
There you go. Why?
Because, it's just annoying.
Yeah.
I have, 10 units left. At night, I have, 10 units left. And I'm like, now I have to go all the way downstairs and fill a cartridge.
Right, you're all cozy in bed.
Yeah, I'm about to go to sleep, and I hear the stupid Animus alarm. Beep, beep, beep.
That's not the Animus alarm. First of all...
Whatever.
You haven't had an Animus pump for 4 years.
Did I say Animus? Oh.
Do you remember the Animus alarm?
It was
Beethoven. Yeah, because I can't hear for Elise without
But it was just that very part. It didn't go on. It was that was it.
Maybe they couldn't get the rights.
How were they legally allowed to use that?
I think it's public domain.
Is it?
I think most classical music is, yes.
Really?
Yeah. You are not doing untethered anymore. We referred to that earlier. That's when you took about 50% of your basal from Tresiba, long-acting shot, and 50% from the pump with Control IQ and with your body changing. Right. We didn't need to really do that. What did you think of that? Was it worth it?
I think at the time it was very nice because it significantly decreased the amount of times I had to change my cartridge. And that was really one of the main reasons we did it. And did it work like a charm?
It did, and it was also about changing that inset.
Yeah, well, that's different perhaps.
Well, no, I mean, I'm not talking about nagging you to change your inset, which I still do and apparently need to.
No.
But I mean, we thought that there was something wrong with the insets. I don't even know if you remember this. We tried different needle lengths. We tried different types.
I think I remember.
Right? We went to the longer needle. And it was just overloaded, it turns out, by the amount of insulin we were trying to push through. So once we took half of the insulin away from the inset, it amazingly worked much better. Would you recommend untethered, for a teen or somebody like that?
I would recommend it for someone that is using more than half their cartridge a day. Well, no, more than a quarter of their cartridge a day and is a teenager. If you're an adult,
Why do you think adults wouldn't do well?
I don't know. Like, it just feels like something that, like, teenagers have that, like, hormonal imbalance. And I feel like it's just significantly easier to control it with untethered.
I just felt bad. I'll be honest with you. I felt bad that you had to take an additional shot every day.
Well, no, I mean, I took that into account mentally. Like, I was like, I mean, is it worth it? And I was like, absolutely.
It really was.
I think that's one of the main things you should consider if you're looking into untethered. Like, do you want to do another shot every day? And can you remember? Because I forgot sometimes.
Yeah, but Tresiba is really forgiving.
Tresiba is extremely forgiving.
Yeah. But it was amazing. The results were amazing, not just with the cartridge changes, but with your A1C and time and range and all that good stuff. Okay, so it's a big if all goes well, you will be traveling to Israel summer of 2021 for 4 or 5 weeks.
Yeah. Without anyone in my family.
Yes, but with a camp group. What are your thoughts about diabetes? Are you nervous? Are you
a little nervous that I might run out of insets?
Oh.
And maybe insulin. I mean, I'm sure I won't. I'm sure we'll have an excess. I don't know, like being in a foreign couple thousand miles away for the first time, plus diabetes is, I mean, it's a little scary. Like, truthfully, it's a little scary, but I mean, I think the fun and the excitement significantly outweighs.
I think you're very smart to worry about those things because, unfortunately, you have to think about those things.
I think the thing I'm most worried about is my Dexcom not wanting to work.
Oh, yeah. Because
at Camp Carolina Trails, may it rest in peace. The last year I was there, the second my phone was away from me, my Dexcom just did not connect to my pump once that entire week. And I really do not want that to happen.
Yeah, I remember that. That was 2018, 2017, something like that. And we tried the Libre, right? Because that was kind of a backup plan. And then you were like, I'm just a diabetes, can't forget it. And you did finger sticks all week, but that would not be fun.
Well, as I've made it abundantly clear about diabetes camp, I think they're on you too much.
Well, they're ensuring your safety. Not everyone is as casual.
Okay, no. But here's my thing. Here's my thing, right?
Oh.
If you have a Dexcom and a parental guardian gives it the okay, why should you have to do a finger stick?
Well, because there are probably medical guidelines that they must go through because they're not your parent.
That makes no sense. But if the parent or guardian signs a waiver that says you can go completely off the Dexcom, like, why would they not have that option?
Not everybody does as well with the Dexcom as you do.
So that's why that's why it should be an option to sign off to allow the parent or guardian to allow camp.
I'm just so happy someone will take you that I don't sign anything special. I just say, will you put up with him? Here, take him, please.
No. It's me putting up with them, okay? It's very different, all right?
Oh, my God.
Look, I love the people there, but your policies I disagree with. I'm sorry.
They're shocked. Those people that we know that are listening are saying to themselves, Benny's never said anything like this to us. We've never heard him complain about anything. What a shocker. You were Rufus.
That was so much fun.
When we used to actually get together in person. Tell me why it was fun.
I loved that. Like, so there was one day where I was walking around the halls, and the second where I was with all the kids in their the place where the parents sent them away to stop dealing with them.
Like the child care area.
That's what it's called. I don't know because I never got sent there because I refused. But like, those kids loved me. And it was so much fun. Like, I really don't know how to explain it.
It was funny because you didn't have any training, really. You've never been a mascot before.
The run in Davidson.
Oh, the JDRF walk.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun too. The one with the kids though was definitely the most fun. Like, they just, like, their eyes lit up. They're like, oh my God, it's Rufus. Oh my God, guys, look, oh my God.
And you're in there and you're hot and you're sweaty.
Oh my God, I'm so hot and disgusting in there. And I'm like in this giant bear costume that all these little kids are hugging like a third of my leg. And I'm like, hey! And I'm like dying inside. Like half the time I'm like genuinely smiling, and like the other half the time I'm like dying on the inside because of how hot I am.
But it was fun. You do it
But
again.
oh my God, I do it 100 times. It was so much fun.
That's great.
GWF sponsor me.
If you were to talk to those little kids outside of the Rufus costume, we don't want to scare them. Anything you would tell them about diabetes? Did anybody ever say anything that helped you? Like anything that you'd like them to know?
It's like I've said like 100 bajillion times, and like I just said, do what you want to do, and don't let the stinking diabetes stop you. It shouldn't be something that stops you.
All right, so I'm gonna make it more difficult because diabetes can definitely stop you, right? Diabetes slows things down. Dude, how many times have we had to like change an inset at a bad moment?
When I say stop, I mean like for a week. Like you're just, I don't want to do anything.
Well, I think it's important to talk about that because some people here don't stop and they think like anything that goes wrong is a bad thing and it's their fault and they feel bad about it. And that's not exactly what you mean.
Yeah, no. If something goes wrong with diabetes, the first thing you should think is it is not your fault. You did everything you could. Something went wrong. Now, pick yourself up, figure out what went wrong, and try and fix it. And if it doesn't work, you try again. You get someone else to help you, and you try again.
You sound like the water boy.
That's some high-quality H2O.
All right, you are almost 16. Let's
end
on that.
I'm so excited.
Let's talk about driving. I know that you think you've got it all in the bag.
I absolutely have it in the bag. I'm the best driver this
world's ever seen. God, knock wood. I'm going to swing a dead chicken over my head, say a Kenahura, the bad luck you just brought on yourself. Don't do that.
Was that English? Yeah. I don't think a word you said there was English.
Just, take it easy. Take it easy, my son. It's a big milestone in anybody's life, but certainly for people with diabetes. I mean, we've gone over our little protocols. And here's a question for you. It's kind of about driving. So this is the first time I remember in your diabetes life where you've said, just get me the glucose tabs. What's up with that?
Well, I never liked the flavor of glucose tabs. I always thought they were kind of gross. Mm-hmm. But you have to take into account the convenience of them. They won't burst like I've had a lot with juice boxes. They won't melt like gummies if I don't touch them for 3 weeks in a compartment in the car. And they really don't taste that bad. So when it comes down to it, I'd much rather have something that I know will be there when I need it than something that tastes better.
Very mature.
I know I'm so awesome, aren't I? You should get me a car.
I should get you a car. I got you a whole thing of glucose tabs.
Like the big ones?
Yeah, it's in the glove compartment already.
That's great.
Orange.
Orange, you glad I didn't say banana? Bananas.
All right, I think we're good. What should we end on here?
What's it like hearing other moms' experiences with their kids with diabetes compared to your experience with me?
Oh my gosh. It can be very difficult because I think, I'll be honest with you, I think a lot of moms do a, quote, better job of managing their kids' diabetes. And I have some guilt that I've given you so much independence and that I haven't. No, the jury's not here yet.
The jury is definitely here.
But I have some guilt that I haven't done as much as maybe I could have over the years. And that world's worst diabetes thing is a joke, but it's sort of kind of not sometimes. But on the other hand, I look at you and I feel like while you may not be a perfect person with diabetes, you are not afraid of it. You respect it, you take care of it, but you're not afraid of it. And you don't seem to feel guilt about it. And you don't seem to be negative about it. You've never given up an opportunity because of it. And that to me means I'm doing okay. As you know, I talk to a lot of moms, especially in the Charlotte area with this group that we have. And
Charlotte moms.
It's Charlotte parents. We have some dads, also known as moms. But it's a good question because I don't think, and I think with all parenting, with your sister too, I think, there's no finish line. So I always feel like we could do better. We could do worse. But, if you guys are healthy and happy, then I feel okay. But it's a good question because it's a really difficult one.
Well, thank you for coming to my podcast. We'll love to have you in about 2 weeks.
All right. Another one. I have another question for you. Then we'll let it go. All right. We said how much we loved Control IQ. Stop. We said how much we loved Control IQ. And I don't even know if you know what's coming down the horizon, if I've kept you posted on anything. What are you looking forward to in diabetes technology in the future?
The 80% thing.
Oh, and the next edition of the Control IQ that will bolus
So it
you
can
more
be more
robustly.
aggressive. Yeah, because while it works great, it is still not aggressive enough for me because I tend to rely on it a little bit more than I should.
Well, you know, it would be really nice not to have to bolus for every meal and
I
not to
think
get
it
it
would
exact.
be really cool if they could find out a way to know exactly what and when I am eating.
Well, there are some algorithms.
Well, there's the thing that like senses when like you told me about the senses when you're moving like your hand like eating.
Your hand
yeah.
comes to your mouth. No. There are some algorithms that are coming that you're just going to have to tell it you're having a small, medium, or large meal, and it should be able to do all the work for you.
I feel like that's too big of an umbrella of food. Because like if I'm having a small meal, that could be like a bar or it could be like a bunch of fruit.
That's true.
I feel like small, medium, and large is too big of a umbrella.
Well,
it is. That would be a great first step, but definitely needs some moderation.
All right. So you're looking forward to more bolus power.
Yeah.
All right.
To more automated bolus power.
Yes. I like that. I'm looking forward to that too. I'm also looking for better insets, as always, because we know those are the weak link of pumping. And I'm also really excited about the smaller CGMs that are coming, the Dexcom.
I can't wait for the tandem, the T-Sport.
Oh, yeah.
When is that supposed to come out?
COVID has knocked everything down, but probably late
T-Sport coming to a store near you in 2022.
My guess, I mean, it's a guess, is late 2021. And that'll be fun to try because it will also allow you to try new sites.
That's really funny, Mom. That's a good joke. Ha!
All right, Benny, thank you so much. Happy Diversary.
Happy Hanukkah. I want to give a gift to you.
When this airs, it's going to be in Hanukkah. Say goodbye like people on your age on YouTube.
Don't forget to like and subscribe and share and comment down and make sure to check out my merch in the description below.
There you go. Perfect. Bye, fam.
Bye, fam.
You're listening to Diabetes Connections with Stacey Simms.
So I have to say, in between a lot of the silliness, I was really excited to have Benny's answers. He told me a lot. I hope you got a lot out of that as well. And again, at the very end of the show, a couple of, I guess you could call them bloopers, although it's just us being ridiculous and silly, if you want to hear that. So that's at the very, very end of the show. I also wanted to mention the issue that he alluded to there with his tandem pump. You probably are aware he uses a tandem T-Slim X2 pump with the G6 from Dexcom and the whole system together with the Control IQ software. We've had that since January of this year, and it really does work like a dream. It's a long story, but I'll try to keep it short here. And the basic problem is that the pump and Dexcom are not communicating as they have been for years and years. So it's really become a problem because the Follow app and the Dexcom app are working fine, but the Control IQ cannot work when it's not getting a signal from the Dexcom. So we've been troubleshooting this with Tandem for a couple of weeks now. They've been really helpful, but it's just taken longer than it might have. I don't know how to quite put this, when I was more in charge, because Benny is great, but he doesn't tell me right away. So when we troubleshoot and things are fixed, I think they're fixed. And then when I check in with him, oh no, they're not fixed. So I really had to sit on him for this one. And Tandem's been great with customer service. And I think we're almost to the end of fixing it. I'll keep you posted. I think the only other thing from the interview I might need to explain is that he said something about Camp Carolina Trails is over, the diabetes camp where he went. Basically, it was just kind of a change of camp in our area. The ADA, the American Diabetes Association, had run his diabetes camp like it does so many for many years. But things changed a couple of years ago, and now we have a local group that runs the camp. And it's pretty amazing to have that. They're really cool people, and we'll have them on again, I'm sure, to talk about all the good stuff that they've done, because they do a lot more than camp. It's the Diabetes Family Connection. They have a great Instagram account, some other stuff, but very cool people. And we're really lucky to have them in this area. And they took over the camp and have done a great job, despite what Benny says. Oy vey, he's such a complainer about that stuff. All right. I want to tell you about our innovations segment in just a moment. New program from Dexcom, and Diabetes Connections is brought to you by Dexcom. As I said, we've been using the Dexcom G6 since it came out. It really is amazing. It is now FDA permitted for no finger sticks for calibration and diabetes treatment decisions. You do that 2-hour warm up, the number just pops up. I know it sounds silly to a lot of you who are newer to CGM, but that's amazing. It really is wild to not have to calibrate. We have been using Dexcom for 7 years, and it just keeps getting better. The G6 has longer sensor wear and the new sensor applicator. As Benny said, it's so easy to use. We still love the alerts and alarms and that we can set them how we want. If your glucose alerts and readings from the G6 do not match symptoms or expectations, use a blood glucose meter to make diabetes treatment decisions. To learn more, go to diabetes-connections.com and click on the Dexcom logo. In innovations this week, a new program from Dexcom. And of course, when I talk about them or talk to them, I always like to disclose, as you just heard, I just did a commercial for Dexcom, and they do pay me to talk about them in the commercials of this podcast. But what you're about to hear is not part of the endorsement. They did not pay me or give me anything to talk about this. I think it's interesting, and I'd love to know your take on it as well. This is a program called Hello Dexcom, and it is a new sample program. So what's going to happen here is that people are going to be able to try a G6 system at no cost. They basically get it at their doctor's offices. It says, and I'll link this up in the Facebook group as well and in the show notes on the episode homepage, but it says whether provided to a newly diagnosed patient to get them started on CGM right away, or a CGM naive patient who wants the opportunity to try the device before committing to a personal system, the Hello Dexcom sampling kit allows people with diabetes to experience the life-changing power of CGM. They get the transmitter, the sensor, and access to a digital experience. They call this a 10-day digital empowerment journey to ensure they get the most out of the experience and understand if CGM is right for their personal diabetes management. Now, I, of course, had lots of questions. Look, we've said a million times, CGM is going to be standard of care. There are 39 CGM systems in development. Who knows how many are actually going to come to market in the United States or in other countries. But this is going to be standard of care for people with diabetes. So more people getting on CGM might be a great thing. I don't know. I am always concerned about education. I see it all the time. And you've heard me tell this to Dexcom and to pump companies and to Libre. People get this stuff on their body. They go home. They don't know how to use it properly. They don't know how to use it to its utmost. They don't know how to use it so that it helps them thrive rather than holding them back. We just need more education. Obviously, this is a soapbox issue for me. So I asked, and I'm going to take you through the Q&A that I did with Dexcom. So this was an email back and forth. I'm going to read you my questions and their answers. If you prefer to read, look, every episode this year has a transcript. So this will be in the transcript if you prefer to read it. I know, especially with my scratchy voice, it might be kind of hard to listen to. It doesn't matter to me. If you want to read, if you want to listen, that's going to be the next 2 to 3 minutes of the show. So here's what I asked. Does the patient get the sensor and transmitter with no commitment or insurance coverage? They said, yeah. Since Hello Dexcom is a sampling program, it's available at the doctor's office, comes at no cost to the patient. So I said, since the transmitter lasts 90 days, what happens at the end of the 10-day trial period? Does the patient choose to continue on with the same transmitter, or do they just throw it away? They said, at the end of the 10-day sampling period, if the person chooses to stay on Dexcom, they will be able to use that transmitter until it needs to be replaced. I'd like to know more, I wrote, about the digital empowerment journey. What is that? Videos? Personalized instructions? The digital journey, they wrote, is a 10-day email series that walks the user through how to make the most of the G6. Once a user receives the Hello Dexcom kit, they'll receive instructions on how to set up their online digital journey. They go on to say they'll get the Dexcom Clarity app. They'll share that with the physician once the sampling period has ended. There are check-ins in the form of email, which share more information. They can get custom alerts and allow others to follow through Dexcom Follow. Who is the daily check-in with? I wrote, the patient's doctor, a Dexcom employee? If it is the latter, is it tech support or a diabetes educator? Emails are sent to the patient every other day, they wrote, as part of the empowerment journey. But users will also have access to customer support to assist throughout the process. At the end of the sampling program, users will meet with their physician to discuss their experience and review their Clarity results. And finally, I wrote, this might be an unpopular question, but I know my listeners will want to know. If Dexcom can afford to give away this many sensors and transmitters, why not lower the price for existing customers? Here's their response. A lot goes into creating this technology. It takes years to develop, study, and gain approval. And then, of course, you have to market it, raise awareness, and encourage people to use it. The Hello Dexcom sampling program is part of that effort to raise awareness and adoption of Dexcom CGM to help people control their diabetes. They went on to give me some information about coverage. I'm going to link up if anybody does need help paying for their Dexcom, or if you need information about Medicare and Medicaid, I will link that up as well. But I think these are questions that need to be asked because from a sales point of view, this is a home run program, right? For Dexcom, you go to your doctor. I'm not sure if I want to use a CGM. They have the professional ones they could put on you where you don't see it. These have been around for years and years. They put a CGM on you, but you don't look at the information. The doctor gets it and uses it to help with care, or maybe it's a way to test out the CGM. But this is a much better way to test out a CGM, right? And then you get to keep the transmitter when you're done. So this is a really cool program, but I could also see some confusion because we know enough people who get educated by educators, right? They meet with a CDE, they meet with a Dexcom trainer, and then 3 days later, they're in my group saying, what happens? Why do I have down arrows? What does it mean if I have signal loss? Where can I put this on my body? And all the things you've seen in all the groups you're in. So I do think that we need so much more education. But this is a really interesting program. What do you think? Hello Dexcom. Is that something that your doctor has talked to you about? It's brand new in December, but by the time this episode comes out, it'll be out for a little while. Love to hear your thoughts on that. And again, I will link up more information in the show notes. As we come into the home stretch of 2020, I know most of you cannot wait for this year to be over, but I have a feeling there's going to be a few interesting technology drops before the end of the year. That always happens in late December. So I am braced for it, which means it probably won't happen this year because I'm ready. But I do have some great interviews lined up. We are going to be heavy on technology in 2021. I have decided it's what I'm really interested in. It's what you're really interested in. Of course, we're going to tell the great stories from our community, and we're going to keep talking about access and affordability. But I am very excited to talk to new pump companies, to talk to new CGM companies, to check in with our friends and find out what's happening at companies like Tandem and Ypsomed and Medtronic and all the stuff that's coming out in the next year or two. So we're going to be heavy on technology. Let me know what you want to hear. If you work for one of these companies, come on, reach out. We'd love to hear from you. Listeners to this podcast are smart and savvy, and if you let them, they can help you. They are fantastic for focus groups and studies, and they really get it. So I didn't expect to make a pitch that way, but if you have a pump CGM technology diabetes company, email me, Stacey at diabetes-connections.com. We can definitely get you the ear of people that are hungry for information, want to hear from you, and want to help you. Because we don't want you to make advances or what you think are advances. We don't want you to move ahead without us. We want our input to help make your products better. Thank you, as always, to my editor, John Buchanan from Audio Editing Solutions. Thank you not only for listening, but for being there. I mean, I'm not just an announcer in this community, right? I'm a mom. You heard my kid. We need you. We need each other. I'm honored and privileged to serve this community, but I'm also so grateful to be part of it. So thanks for always being there. For me, I'm Stacey Simms. I'll see you back here next week. Until then, be kind to yourself.
Diabetes Connections is a production of Stacey Simms Media. All rights reserved, all wrongs avenged.
It's like I've said like 100 bajillion times and like I just said. What?
I'm making a face at you. Just say it.
Am I not allowed to go on?
Fine. Take your time. I'll take a sip of tea.
That's her taking a sip tea. You're gonna laugh or you are laughing. Tea. Yummy. Here's the tea.
I can't even drink it. Spill it. Go ahead. Oh my God.
I think you should not edit this at all.
That's going to go at the end. All that laughing.